This is Morgan Freeman's Millionaire lifestyle. Speaking of the most iconic Hollywood veterans of all time, Morgan Freeman would definitely be among the top 5. An actor with a distinctive voice and versatility, plus 5 decades of active acting career. That's enough to make him a Hollywood legend. But what's even more intriguing about Morgan is his luxurious millionaire lifestyle, and this has got a lot of people talking. Morgan Freeman is an American actor, producer, and narrator, ranking 4th in the top 10 richest black actors with a whopping net worth of over $250 million. In this video, we will be picking apart the lifestyle of this veteran actor and see what the inside looks like. So, let's jump on it. It's no news that the legendary Morgan Freeman has been one of the most admired personalities Hollywood has ever seen, delivering insane performances in different genres. But more often than not, people love him more for his deep, resonant voice, especially when he plays God, as in Bruce Almighty and Evan Almighty in 2003 and 2007, respectively. Aside from those, he has delivered some flawless performances in which Freeman has delivered unforgettable performances in films such as The Shawshank Redemption, Driving Miss Daisy, and $1 Million Baby. But inasmuch it appears like Freeman has hit the peak of his success, with all the flashy cars and exotic mansions, it never used to be this way. His early life. Morgan Freeman was born on the 1st of June 1937 in Memphis, Tennessee. Being the youngest of 5 children, Freeman's dad, Morgan Porterfield Freeman Sr., spent his life as a barber, while his mother, Mamie Edna, was a school teacher. Let's say he never had the best childhood, raised in Chicago and Mississippi in a low-income home. Not long after he was born, Morgan's parents relocated to Chicago in search of greener pastures, just like so many other African Americans struggling under the pressures of the Jim Crow South. While his parents looked for jobs, Freeman remained with his maternal grandmother in Charleston, Mississippi. At the age of 6, Freeman's grandmother died, one of the saddest moments of his life. Then he moved north to be with his mother, who was already divorced from her alcoholic husband at the time. He and his siblings never had the chance to be raised by a responsible father, and all he had left in his little world was his mother and his burning passion for acting. They later moved to Tennessee and eventually back to Mississippi, where Mamie Edna settled her family in Greenwood. As a kid, Freeman spent a good portion of his time scraping together enough money to see movies, and there he developed an early admiration for actors like Gary Cooper, Sidney Poitier, and Spencer Tracy. It was only by chance that Freeman himself got into acting. Now, here's where it gets more interesting. He was a notorious lad in junior high school. As punishment for pulling out a chair from underneath a girl he had a crush on, Freeman was ordered to participate in the school's drama competition, a role every student avoided like a plague. Little did he know he was writing the story of an extraordinary breakthrough into the books of Hollywood. To his surprise, and the surprise of the entire school administration body, 12-year-old Freeman proved to be a born actor on the stage, bagging top honors in the program, and that marked the genesis of his journey into stardom. Now, you might think Freeman's life revolved around acting at the time, but it was far from it. While Freeman loved to act, the idea of being a fighter pilot was at the top of his heart. And so, upon graduating high school in 1955, Morgan turned down an enticing drama scholarship and joined the U.S. Air Force. However, his career in the Air Force didn't last, as he decided to move to Hollywood to see if he could make it as an actor. He struggled in his first few years, but his big break happened in 1967, the same year he married Jeanette Adair Bradshaw, when he landed a part in an all-African-American Broadway production of Hello, Dolly. Then he started appearing regularly on The Electric Company, a public television-produced children's TV show that focused on teaching kids how to read. On a show that included such current and future stars as Rita Moreno, Joan Rivers, and Gene Wilder, Freeman had played some pretty memorable characters like Easy Reader, Mel Mounds, and Count Dracula. Just then, he received a huge blow to his career again. Freeman found that his marriage had started to fall apart, and he began drinking too much, just like his daddy. Not long after that, Freeman and Jeanette got divorced in 1979. It was only a year after his divorce when he landed a part as a crazed inmate in the Robert Redford film, Brubaker, in 1980. Fast forward to 1987, when everything turned around for him. He was cast in the movie Street Smart. His role proved to be a huge success for Freeman, beyond what he ever imagined, earning him his first ever Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor. It only took 2 more years for Freeman to earn more awards, a Golden Globe Award for Best Actor and a second Oscar nomination as the kind-hearted but stubborn chauffeur in 1989's Driving Miss Daisy. By the 2010s, Freeman was already flying high in his career. At the 2012 Golden Globes, he received the Cecil B. DeMille Award for outstanding contributions to the world of entertainment. It's easy to fall in love with the actor because of his eloquent, distinctive voice, making him perfect for narration. His voice can be heard in such memorable films as War of the Worlds and the Academy Award-winning documentary March of the Penguins. In 2009, Freeman teamed up with Eastwood again, playing the role of South African President Nelson Mandela in Invictus, a role that earned him an Oscar nod for Best Actor. Only a few years later, he appeared in the action thriller Olympus Has Fallen, the sci-fi film Oblivion, the comedy Las Vegas, the sci-fi blockbuster Lucy, and did voice work for the animation The Lego Movie. But it didn't end there. In 2015, he played the Chief Justice of the United States on the television show Madam Secretary, for which he was also an executive producer. The following year, in September 2016, President Barack Obama presented Freeman with a National Medal of Arts. Now, show me a better definition of a legend. You can only imagine how much wealth he had gathered already. His years of hard work had eventually gifted him an unbeatable career, making him a model figure in Hollywood. However, Morgan Freeman had a really unstable home. He has been married and divorced twice. His first marriage was to Jeanette Adair Bradshaw from 1967 to 1979. He then married Myrna Colley Lee in 1984, and their marriage lasted until 2010. Morgan Freeman has 4 children. He adopted his first wife's daughter, Dina, and has a son, Alfonso, from a previous relationship. He also has 2 children, Saifullah and Morgana, from other relationships. His real estate empire. Now let's take a sneak peek into his massive mansion. For a man who has hit huge success in his career, it's no surprise for him to own a luxurious apartment. Morgan Freeman still had a deep connection to his Mississippi roots, as he attended high school there. After fully taking up acting, he had to stay in New York for a few years. However, since he started gaining recognition for his work and receiving Oscar nominations for his films, he decided to move to Mississippi. In 1991, Freeman bought a massive piece of land from his parents, and there, his mansion stands tall on a 124-acre estate near Charleston, Mississippi, on the banks of the Tallahatchie. This serene Mississippi wonder gives us a glimpse into the actor's love for some quiet, lavished with stunning architectural designs, a perfect escape from the bustle of the real world. The mansion has 2 stories, which include a large lake, a helipad, and a golf course. It also includes a tennis court, a gazebo, and a large pool for outdoor entertainment. Yes, sophisticated indeed. He has an interest in horses, and as a passionate horseman, he keeps several mounts on his land and maintains the ranch as a working farm with horses and other livestock. But we'll talk more about that later in this video. As spectacular as this ranch appears, Freeman decided to turn it into a bee sanctuary. He imported beehives and planted lavender and magnolia trees to create a honeybee sanctuary. The actor feeds and looks after the bees himself. According to him, he never wears a bee suit or a bee hat, and they haven't stung him yet. He only feeds them and has no intention of harvesting honey or disrupting the beehives. His ranch remains one of the major highlights of Mississippi, and although there are no exact figures yet, some sources claim that the ranch is worth up to $10 million. Everything about the house screams luxury and elegance. Taking a tour inside the mansion might give you a feel of what heaven feels like. The grandeur and architectural designs littered on the walls are simply stunning, unlike traditional estates. High ceilings, countless bedrooms, and let's not even mention his kitchen, large enough to serve as a living room in most luxury homes. The exterior designs and furniture blend neatly with the environment. You can't help but admire Freeman's high taste and love for serenity. Another highlight of this gorgeous house is how much Freeman invests in sustainability, featuring solar panels and his organic gardens. His real estate journey is just as impressive as his career. Aside from his iconic ranch, Freeman also owns houses in New York, Greenwood, Mississippi, and some parts of Indiana. An actor of his age who is still doing well in other industries is hard to come by. But if you're blown away by what you've seen so far, wait until you see his exotic vehicle collection. His vehicle collection. Only a handful of people in the world are more passionate than Morgan Freeman when it comes to cars, having been spotted in cool rides from futuristic electric marvels to classic American muscle. But in 2008, the Oscar-winning actor was seriously injured in a car crash near his home in Charleston, Mississippi. He was driving a 1997 Nissan Maxima when the car flipped over several times. He broke his left arm and elbow in the incident and sustained minor shoulder damage. Luckily, it didn't cost him his life. However, Freeman isn't the kind of celebrity who buys cars just to flex or to fill his garage with the latest trend. He only picks cars that match his personality: smooth, powerful, and effortlessly cool. Whether it's a luxury sedan, a muscle car, or a private jet, every machine in his collection has a story behind it. Yeah, he's that detailed about everything. We can say Freeman's taste in cars is a mix of old school and modern charm. One of his most famous rides is his 1997 GMC Yukon Denali, a simple yet powerful SUV that he's been driving for years. While other celebrities swap cars every few months, Freeman holds on to the ones he loves. It's more like he connects deeply even with toys that he hardly lets them go. To balance things up, even though Freeman doesn't make a spectacle of his garage, he still owns a solid lineup of high-end cars that show his exotic taste. One of them is the Rolls-Royce Phantom. When it comes to pure luxury, nothing beats a Rolls-Royce. The Phantom is the perfect definition of class, featuring handcrafted interiors, a soundless ride, and the kind of comfort that makes long drives feel like a first-class flight. Next, Tesla Model S. Freeman sure knows a high-end piece of technology when he sees one, and his Tesla Model S proves it. With its all-electric powertrain, sleek design, and lightning-fast acceleration, it has everything that screams unmatched innovation. We can't leave out his Chevrolet Corvette. Freeman's Corvette is what you'll call a timeless machine, combining speed, aggressive styling, and pure horsepower. Freeman's love for machines doesn't stop at ground level, but also extends to the skies. He once said that getting his pilot's license was one of the proudest moments of his life. The actor owns a small fleet of aircraft, each one carefully chosen for its performance and style. Among his fleet, he loves his Cessna Citation 501 the most, a sleek private jet perfect for long-distance travel. It allows Freeman to skip commercial flights and fly on his schedule with maximum comfort. But his Embraer Phenom 300 is a more advanced private jet, weighing it among its class. With its modern design and powerful engines, it truly shows Freeman's taste for top-tier jets. Then, lastly, the Cessna 414. This twin-engine aircraft is a whole experience on its own. Freeman doesn't just sit back and relax in his jets, he often flies them himself. It's all about freedom. Owning private jets means he can travel anywhere, anytime he pleases, while avoiding the hassle of commercial airports and enjoying the skies on his own terms. As if the sky was no longer enough for him, he decided to take it a step further by adding a collection of ships to his name. Freeman is a true sailor with many miles behind him, who, in his own words, practices sailing as a particularly effective antidote to healing from Hollywood. That sounds indeed therapeutic. His sailings usually include Long Island Sound, Block Island, the Elizabeth Islands, Cape Cod, the Maine coast, and Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. His collection includes his first ever ship in 1979, the Hotel 30 model, valued at around $30,000. Then, the Shannon 38 model, and finally, the Shannon 43 model, his most expensive boat, approximately valued around $400,000. One thing is clear with Freeman: he doesn't just own luxury, he lives it, his business ventures and investments. While some celebrities blow away their fortunes on questionable investments, Freeman knows how to play it smart. More than acting, he has a solid mix of businesses, real estate, and long-term projects that keep his wealth growing. However, his business moves aren't about making money alone. They reflect someone who values history, storytelling, and yes, bees, as we mentioned earlier in this video. We'll get to that in detail soon. If you ever find yourself in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and hear the raw, soulful sound of blues music spilling into the street, then you're probably near Ground Zero Blues Club, owned by Morgan Freeman. If you wonder why an Oscar-winning actor would own a blues club in a small Mississippi town, the answer is simple. He loves the blues, and Clarksdale is considered the birthplace of the genre. Instead of letting the town's musical history fade, Freeman decided to keep the tradition alive. He co-founded the club in 2001 with his late friend Bill Luckett, and it's been a huge success ever since. Ground Zero has an authentic vibe, with the walls covered in graffiti, worn-out bar stools, and a stage where legends pour their hearts into every performance. People from all over the world come to have a taste of the experience. Aside from that, his multi-million-dollar ranch in Mississippi isn't only a retreat for him, but a place where he feels connected to the natural world. And then there's the bees. A few years ago, Freeman turned part of his land into a bee sanctuary. Why? Because he learned about the decline of honeybees and decided to do something about it. He stopped using pesticides on his land, planted bee-friendly flowers, and even set up dozens of beehives. The man went from playing God in movies to helping save the planet. And while this might not sound like a traditional investment, it actually is. Land conservation, sustainable farming, and ecotourism are fast-growing industries. Freeman isn't just saving bees, he's also sitting on valuable land that will only increase in worth over time. Freeman has been in Hollywood long enough to know that the real money isn't just in acting, it's in producing. That's why he co-founded Revelations Entertainment in 1996. But he isn't out here trying to make blockbusters or reality TV dramas. His production company focuses on meaningful films and documentaries that tell powerful stories. One of the most well-known projects from Revelations Entertainment is The Story of God with Morgan Freeman. The series explores different cultures' beliefs about life, death, and the afterlife. It was a massive hit, proving that people want to hear deep, thought-provoking content. Freeman has also had his hands dipped into the clean energy sector. He has supported projects focused on solar power and sustainable technology. While some people are still debating whether renewable energy is the future, Freeman is already investing in it. This fits right in with his personality of long-term thinking. It's more like the Hollywood actor is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. To answer the question of how Freeman managed to keep his wealth intact while so many celebrities go broke every day, here's his strategy. Freeman doesn't invest in random businesses just because they're trendy. Every investment he makes connects to something he genuinely cares about: music, storytelling, sustainability. That's a big reason why his businesses work. Also, he's not flashy with money. Even though he owns a Rolls-Royce Phantom and a fleet of private jets, he also still drives a 1997 GMC Yukon Denali. While some famous people switch cars every 6 months, Freeman sticks with what works. Freeman also doesn't rely on one source of money. He has Hollywood paychecks, business income, real estate investments, and production royalties all working for him. This way, if one industry slows down, he still has other revenue streams. So whether it's real estate, film production, or sustainable energy, he's building long-term generational wealth. He is a strong believer in working smartly. He's not just sitting back and spending millions on ridiculous luxuries. He's actively building huge projects, and that's why even after decades in the industry, he's still one of the most respected and financially stable figures in Hollywood. If there's anyone who knows how to play the long game best, it's him. His philanthropy and social causes. It takes more than a deep, lovely voice to genuinely care about making the world a better place. Freeman has spent the past few decades quietly supporting causes that make a difference, from education to disaster relief to wildlife conservation. Freeman has consistently used his wealth and influence to help people get closer to their purpose. He has always been a strong believer in paying it forward. He knows he didn't get to where he is by accident, and instead of just relaxing to enjoy his success, he makes sure to share it and impact a generation. If that means rolling up his sleeves and getting personally involved, he's more than willing to do the dirty work. One of Freeman's biggest passions is education. He believes that giving young people opportunities can change their entire future, and he puts his money where his mouth is. Freeman has donated millions to fund scholarships for students in Mississippi, which includes establishing the Tallahatchie River Foundation with his daughter Morgana Freeman, the Morgan Freeman Endowment for Veterinary Medicine, and the Center for Evidence-Based Policing and Reform. He understands that talent is everywhere, but opportunity isn't. There's a huge need to close that gap. As a man who made his fortune in storytelling, Freeman also supports programs that teach kids about film, theater, and writing. He knows firsthand how powerful storytelling can be, and he wants to give young people a platform to explore their creativity. When disaster strikes, Freeman doesn't just sit back and watch. He takes action, and the Hurricane Katrina relief is proof. When Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast in 2005, Freeman immediately stepped up into the scene. He co-founded the Grenada Relief Fund, now known as Planned Now, to help victims of natural disasters. Planned Now provides long-term support, making sure people have the resources to rebuild their lives and make meaning out of it. Also, in 2010, after a massive earthquake reduced Haiti to debris, Freeman was one of the celebrities who donated to relief efforts, helping provide food, shelter, and medical aid to those affected. Away from disasters, not many people love nature as much as Morgan Freeman. He has a deep respect for the planet and has made it a mission to protect wildlife and the environment. We already talked about how Freeman converted his 124-acre ranch into a bee sanctuary, but it's worth mentioning again because it's one of the coolest things he's ever done. He stopped using pesticides, planted wildflowers, and brought in over 26 beehives to create a safe habitat for bees, not for the money, but because he understands how important bees are for the ecosystem. Most people don't know this, but Freeman has also supported efforts to stop elephant poaching and protect these incredible animals from extinction. He has donated to wildlife organizations that focus on stopping illegal hunting and preserving natural habitats. Showing his affection for animals, Freeman has given support to the Mississippi Animal Rescue League, and he donated funds to help create a new research area at the Mississippi State College of Veterinary Medicine, which was later named the Morgan Freeman Equine Reproduction Research Unit. Freeman is a man who believes that money should be used for something bigger than just luxury. While he enjoys the finer things in life, he also knows that real wealth is about what you do with it. Unlike some celebrities who make a big deal about their charity work, Freeman doesn't seek attention for it. He gives because he genuinely wants to help, not because he wants praise for it. One thing about every help he renders is that he leaves behind a sustainable solution. His hurricane relief organization, his beekeeping sanctuary, and his education grants all focus on long-term impact, not just short-term fixes. And to be honest, if Morgan Freeman is backing a cause, you know it's something worth supporting, because if there's one thing he's proven, it's that he's not just a man with a great voice, he's a man with a large heart, his private hobbies and leisure. Freeman spends his free time doing things that are a little different. His hobbies are unique, personal, and, quite frankly, cooler than what most millionaires do with their time. In every interview where Morgan Freeman had to talk about his hobbies, he never left out how much he loves to fly. And yes, he flies his own aircraft. He had always dreamed of flying, but it wasn't until he was 65 years old that he gave it a shot. Freeman once said that flying gives him a sense of peace and freedom. The man has spent his whole career playing powerful figures: God, a U.S. president, Nelson Mandela. It only makes sense that he needs something that relieves him of the heavy burdens. Then we talk of keeping beehives in his ranch. After learning about the global bee crisis a few years ago, he went all in and turned his 124-acre ranch in Mississippi into a bee sanctuary, importing over 26 beehives. He doesn't even wear a beekeeping suit when handling the bees. He just lets them crawl all over him. His goal isn't to profit from them, as he never harvested honey from them, but to help restore the declining bee population. Flying and beekeeping are already pretty unique, but those aren't the only things that Freeman does in his free time. He's got a whole list of interests that make him one of the most fascinating celebrities out there. Freeman is a huge chess fan, and not in a casual way. He's been playing for decades and has even competed in a few tournaments. He once described chess as a way to sharpen the mind, which explains why he's always 5 steps ahead, both in movies and in life. When he's not flying in the air, Freeman enjoys the good old-fashioned experience of riding horses. He's been passionate about horseback riding for years and has even owned a few horses himself. It's one of the few things that can make him slow down and enjoy the simpler pleasures in life. Seeing him casually sitting on the back of a galloping horse in the countryside feels like it's a scene straight out of a movie. Except it's just his real life. Freeman has a deep appreciation for classic cars, and while he owns a few luxury vehicles, he's particularly drawn to vintage rides. One of his favorites? A AG Milio Kilensas Kilens Venhet GMC Yukon Denali. It's not the flashiest car in the world, but it's reliable, and that's Freeman in a nutshell. Classic and effortlessly cool. But that's not all. Freeman has always been a fan of blues music, and while he's best known for his acting, he also enjoys playing the guitar. He has a deep love for music, which is one of the reasons he co-owns the Ground Zero Blues Club in Mississippi. It's safe to say this is the kind of retirement most people dream of. Morgan Freeman remains an actor in the history books. Freeman's approach to wealth is a mix of class and pure wisdom. And what's a better way to enjoy your gray years than watching the beauty of the world Earth from a private jet, taking a long ride in your favorite classic car, or relaxing in your own club while enjoying your favorite blues? At the end of the day, Freeman's millionaire lifestyle isn't about living large, but living with purpose. And that's what matters the most.